small or weak. We're going to say this again. You're not shy, small, or weak. You have been trained and programmed to become shy, small, and weak. And that is not who you are. So, have you ever wondered, when you look out there into the world, have you ever wondered what is causing some people to play small, sometimes their entire life, while others are out there living it up, like fully and completely? What's the difference? Is the difference that those people who are living out there fully, is it because they're smarter? Is it because they're harder working? Is it because they have a better education? Is it because they're perfect? Is it because they have more courage or more confidence? No, no. It's because they have made a decision to become who they. But before that happens, there's something that has to happen. It's not that simple. It's not that easy. It's doable. So in this video, I would like to share with you what's the difference that makes the difference from people who keep playing small their entire life and often feel very disappointed and feel depleted and exhausted, which in the long term causes anxiety and depression and self-doubt and lack and scarcity and money blocks and all other kinds of blocks, right? Versus the people that are like, pull the trigger and they're out there. Well, actually, there's a huge difference that makes the difference. And every single human being has the potential to make that happen for themselves. Because, just big picture, general idea, there is not a person on this planet that was born to play small. That's just a fact. Because every single human being has something very exquisite, very exceptional, very expensive that only you have. Nobody else has what you have. It's like that special snowflake. Every single human being has that. It's like the Luciano Pavarottis of the world. Every single person has that in some form, shape, or color. Now, finding that, discovering that, and then obviously putting leverage on that, that's up to you. Now, obviously, there are some very lucky people out there who maybe from an early age, somebody saw something in them and they literally banked on them. They told them, oh, I believe in you and this is your gift, this is your talent. I haven't met anybody personally like that, but I know there are people like that, like Olympian athletes maybe, or even Luciano Pavarotti, possibly, I don't know. And yet for most people, they don't have that one person. They don't have that backup, dancer, that, right? So I want to explain to you what happened here. Please keep in mind that every single human being, we are basically driven by two forces, okay, inside of us. The one force is, this is, we're born. We are born with this soul. Every single human being has a soul. And that soul knows what your mission is, what your purpose and your passion is, okay? That's just a fact. Now, this is important. But then there's this other force. We can call this childhood programming, where from an early age, you learned how to be, how not to be, what's right, what's wrong, what to believe in, what not to believe in. And in other words, the child learns life through experiences and then attaches meanings to that. In other words, you learn about your relationship with your parents, about relationship with people, stranger danger, children are seen, not heard, you have to obey your parents, you have to be a certain religion. In other words, by the time you are 7 years old, you are so heavily programmed and bombarded and brainwashed and hypnotized with all kinds of messages and ideas on how you should be, on how you should live your life. Now that, all those beliefs become a program, and that becomes you have sort of begin to become a childhood archetype. Carl Jung talks about this extensively. I'm only going to mention a few, just so that you can see whether you can identify with this. Now, these archetypes is almost like you become like, for example, there's the child archetype of people pleaser or the rebel. And let me know as you're hearing these words if you can identify with some of these. Most people are several. Some people are typically, not typically people are not just one. They typically are several. But so this the archetype, people pleaser, rebel, the golden child, the invisible one, the jokester, the performer, the smart one, the sporty one, the invisible one. Interesting, right? And so, therefore, the child basically learns this is how I should be in the world. Because when I'm like that, people will accept me, they will tolerate me, they will embrace me, or they will, you know, in other words, this is how the child learns how to survive, right? Not thrive, survive. There's a big difference. The difference is, as an adult, you actually get to decide, do I just want to keep surviving or do I want to thrive? And for that to happen, a big shift has to happen. What has to happen is we have to give ourselves permission and the realization and the understanding to move from child archetype into adult archetype. And that's a whole different level. And just FYI, guess what? A lot of people, a huge percentage of the population stays stuck in the child archetype and then gets to the age of 80, 90 and looks back at their life with regret. And I shoulda, coulda, woulda. And in hindsight, they have all these realizations and understandings of I should have done this and I should have had more courage. I should have put myself out there more. I should have asked for the raise. I should have asked for the money. I should have, right? And why is that? Because nobody explained to them that they stayed stuck in the child archetype. And often when people stay stuck in it, what that leads to is not only victim consciousness, meaning, oh, if my parents only, if my background was only, if only this could have happened, if only that. In other words, this person stays stuck in blaming their past, blaming parents, gossiping, in this low vibrational consciousness where it's always other people's fault. It's not my fault. Everybody else should fix it. Everybody else should take care of it. And that person has not yet decided that it's their responsibility, the ability to respond and say, okay, I'm an adult now. I am no longer living under the regime of whatever that childhood, whoever, caregivers, parents, doesn't really matter. But a lot of people stay stuck and often think they still think like the child. They stay stuck in this archetype. That often leads to anxiety, lots of anxiety, feeling disappointed, feeling depleted, feeling deleted, quite frankly, feeling unseen, unheard. They are stuck in this idea that, oh, if I am visible, if I put myself out there, I'm going to get criticized. I'm going to get rejected. People are not going to like me. What if they have bad opinions about me? What if they don't approve of me? So this child archetype basically constantly looks for approval from others, and maybe they will give me permission. Maybe now my boss will see how worthy I am, whatever, something like that. And the transition, right, into getting into the adult archetype, that's a whole different caliber. That's a whole different level. But I wanted to share this with you today because, and I'm going to explain what it takes to jump from the child into the adult, right? But this is where often people will go to something like a doctor or a therapist or a psychologist, right? And they will realize I have this anxiety. I'm not as confident as I want to be. I have a bad self-esteem, or I'm stuck in this pattern. And a lot of times, and this is what just really hurts me because I have had so many conversations. Remember, people typically come to me as a last resort. They have already been down the route of medical care and doctors and therapists and talk therapy and all kinds of interventions, only to find out after all of that, spending hundreds of thousands of dollars and hours, that not only did it not help, but they still feel stuck and often then are even medicated, which just will actually suppress the symptoms even further, but it doesn't really help solve the problem. And that's why I'm a big fan of solving the problem from the root cause. And that's a whole different intervention. That's a whole different way of working with somebody. So to move from child archetype into adult archetype really takes this idea of, what am I willing to tolerate? We all get what we tolerate. Do I want to keep playing small for the rest of my life? Is this really good enough for me? Is this how I want to be? That person starts to ask themselves some really challenging questions, not convenient questions, not pleasant questions. That person will start to have this shift very often when they're at their lowest, when they're at the bottom. They're like, there are people out there that are making it happen, and here I am sitting. I'm jealous, I'm upset, I'm angry. I know I'm the smartest person in the room. Why am I the shyest person in the room? Why is it that anytime the stakes are high and I need to show up and I need to, right, say something in the boardroom, why do I keep myself small? Why do I keep myself shy? Why do I? Well, that's because of the child archetype, because you learned as a child, most likely children are seen, not heard. And now what happened? Your nervous system associated you being seen or you speaking with something bad is going to happen. Why? Because you got punished as a child when you were the spirited, vibrant, sassy, right out there, but that was too much for people. So you got punished and they shut you down. And so what did this is important. What did that cause? What that caused is you in time learn to suppress yourself, to repress yourself, to depress yourself. Depression, sound familiar? Depressed, deep rest, depressed. Mhm. So now here we have the real you is sort of confined underneath this, like it's there, but it has been silenced. Sound familiar? And you will know because you will feel this. You will feel that there's a part of you that is dying to come out, that is ready to come out, that is roaring to come out. It just like it can't help itself. And yet the child archetype keeps pushing down and keeps trying to convince you that it's not safe to come out, because if you do, people are going to yell at you. If you do, you're going to get rejected. If you do, you're going to get the bad grade, or and on and on and on and on. And this is how these two are always battling with each other, because the soul, the real you, is like, come on, let's do this, I'm on fire, boom, right? But the child, no, 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 don't do that, because you're going to get yelled at. And when these two are in conflict with each other, guess which one always wins until we do this deep inner work? Which one do you think always wins? Exactly, because it already has won every single time. It took over in childhood and boom, it has been in control since then. Now we have a choice. We can let this child archetype run the show for the rest of our life, which will cause more anxiety, more not getting paid what you deserve, what you absolutely deserve, not getting the respect, the reputation, the recognition, the reciprocation that you deserve. And that's a choice we can make. So we already know we're paying a price for this. Or we can be like, you know what? I am sick and tired. I no longer want to be the small one, the shy one, the weak one, the stuck one. And I want to go out there into the world, because every single human being has a Luciano Pavarotti inside. And whatever label you want to give it. And the only reason Luciano is famous and out there and making an impact in the world because he made that decision at one point in his life, or somebody made it for him, and then he jumped on board because his soul was like, yes, Luciano, this is who you're supposed to be. Oprah, this is who you're supposed to be. This is how you're supposed to impact the world. Because that soul mission, remember, is not just about you. That's the paradox. That's the kicker here. The best part, the soul mission is never just about you. It's not like this selfish little entity that's like, oh, let's build a palace and we're going to just, for the rest of our life. It always is about others as well. It's about what will fulfill you, what will give you passion and joy, and what is it that once that comes out of you, you will be able to impact the world with that. And your world might be the 2 children that you have. Your world might be the 10 dogs that you adopted. Your world might be the mice that you feed. It doesn't matter. But you know what it is. When you find it, you will know. It will be so obvious to you. It will you'll just be like, oh dear, I have landed. So what that is less important than finding it and being willing to take a stand for yourself. Because I promise you, I don't know if I've ever met a person where there was another person in her life and said, you know what, I'm committed to you. I mean, obviously there's some amazing relationships and parents and all that kind of stuff, right? But that almost always comes with they're trying so hard to convince you, which is a wonderful, beautiful thing. But unless you are convinced, unless that movement, unless that motivation comes from within, unless you feel like you're being pulled toward it, this is not going to go well. It's got to be a feeling that, and often people will, watch me and they'll want to hire me and they'll say something like, Susan, I want to hire you so you can kick my butt. No way, Jose, am I going to do that? You don't need somebody to kick your butt. You need, if you want to hire me, what I can do for you is I can help you, show you. Here's a phrase. It's very familiar. Have you ever found yourself say or think to yourself, I wish I could get out of my own way? That's what we got to do. Help you get out of your own way. Now, because of this, because I promise you, the child archetype tries to dominate you, tries to take over, tries to still rule your life when it's really the soul. It's about time the soul gets to come out and play. And that's what I can help you with. And you don't need anybody to kick your butt. You don't need anybody to tell you, I believe in you, or push through the fear. In fact, that's very dangerous, inappropriate, disrespectful, and bad advice. I would never tell my clients to push through the fear and do it anyway. I would never tell them to fake it till you make it. And I would never tell them that FEAR, false evidence appearing real. No, this fear is real. It is real. And we need to understand and identify what is this fear trying to tell you, because it's there for a reason. And to just wish the fear away or step over it is a very disrespectful and self-abusive way, if you ask me, to handle that. That is not. Because if that, it will show up again in another way. It always does. So just want to see if I have, thank you so much for your comments. I love your name, Siddhartha. Siddharth, I guess. Exactly. Yep, I really appreciate your comments. So thanks again. Happy birthday, Teresa. Happy birthday. What a beautiful day. I hope it's nice where you are and all your wishes come true. So I wanted to see if you guys have any questions in this regard. And this is, by the way, some of the biggest challenges that I've seen with so many people. They don't understand what is it that's really holding them back, and often are frustrated and battling inside, thinking that, oh, I'm too weak, or I'm too shy, or I'm not strong enough, I need more courage, or I need more education, or I need to wait for the perfect time. I've heard it all before. Please keep in mind, they may seem like really good reasons, but they typically never are the real reason. And we can have two things in life. We can either have reasons on why we can't, and there's plenty to choose from, or we can celebrate the results that we want to achieve. And for me personally, my mission in life is to help not only end suffering, quite frankly, because I have suffered for so long and I sought out help for so long from so many different people, only to find out that it didn't work and it didn't help. And I was really, really angry and frustrated. And then I finally found something that actually did work. And what did work was neuro linguistic subconscious reprogramming. And that's what caused my transformation. And this is what helps every single one of my clients get paid what they're worth, stop, they drop this imposter syndrome, they finally get to enjoy the relationships they deserve to enjoy with happiness, with fulfillment, with appreciation for each other. And most importantly, yes, their health and all that, but most importantly, they finally get to develop and appreciate the relationship they have about themselves. Because there's a lot of people out there who are really hard on themselves and blame themselves and shame themselves and berate themselves and have this really vicious relationship with themselves where all they ever hear in that critic, that inner bully, criticizing, judging, berating, blaming, and it hurts so much. When no, guess what? You learned that in childhood. That is not what's best for you. That's not motivating. That's incredibly disempowering. Hello from England. That's right. The greatest of the nations. Sure. I love England. Been there many, many times. Dorset and London, my favorites. Thanks for joining us here. So, listen, you guys, I got to get ready for my next phone call. Let me know what questions you have about this. And remember, there is a part of you that is your soul that really wants to come out and play and shine and dominate and just like live it up. Every single human being has the right to do that. There is no need to suffer. Look, okay, hold on, back up, back up. Yes, I can guarantee you. What are the things that are guaranteed in life? Sorry, not to rain on our parade here, but I mean, come on. Reality check. Taxes, death, and problems. We'll always have them, right? But how we navigate through those problems is the difference that makes the difference, because we can navigate through those problems with fear and anxiety and self-doubt, and I can't, and it's not perfect yet, and I'm not good enough yet, and I'm definitely not worthy, and all that. That's just noise, and that's a lot of or we can dance through these challenges and problems and be like, yep, I got this, no problem. Is this all you got? Are you sure? Come on. You're trying to trigger me? Try harder. It doesn't work. Right? So, oh, hello from Luxembourg. What? You people? Oh, it's so late by you guys. Well, I'm from Austria originally, so I know how late it is by you. Isn't it bedtime? Well, I can only speak for myself. 9 o'clock is, don't laugh. 9 o'clock is my bedtime. So it is past your bedtime if I were with you right now. So anyway, but thanks for checking in. In fact, it's so fascinating to me how many clients from Europe I get. It's beautiful. As primarily England and Germany. Don't know why, don't know how, but that's just. So yeah, England, best place in the world. So is Germany, so is Austria, so is America, and so is every other nation, because we all are like in this soup together, right? So for me, there is no such thing as borders. Anyway, let me know what questions you have. If you want to connect with me, there is a link somewhere in my bio. You can book a call, and I'm happy to speak with you to go a little bit deeper into this subject, a little bit further, because you deserve to be happy. You deserve to live it up. You deserve to like be all out, and everybody should hear it and know it. And just see you later. Thanks for joining me.